Hi, I'm George Pearson, and these are just a few examples from some of the training videos I have here on YouTube. Now, when you're working with the training, following along the training, if you want to get the materials I used in the training, just go to the description down below and click on the link that's at the top of the description, and this will take you to a page where you can download the materials. Please subscribe, click the like button, and of course always share on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the video. In this Photoshop Elements project, we're going to create a complex repeating pattern, and we'll then apply it to a picture in here and use it as a background for a picture. Let's just first see what I'm talking about here. I'll just zoom in on a spot right down here. And you can see how this is all a whole bunch of interlocking rings. And we'll be making a pattern so you can then fill this into whatever background you want to have. Okay, let's just back out just a touch. You can see that again as the background pattern. There we go. And let's now build our pattern. We can then use it to fill the background. I'm just going to close this file out. We'll get rid of that one. Let that save out. And here is the basic layout for the ring pattern. And then we'll be using just the middle piece of this, and I'll show you how to build this whole thing. The part we'll be using is, let me just grab the crop tool here and crop in on this. There you go. We'll be using just this piece of it, and that will then give us that repeating pattern. We'll be building it like this first, and then cropping in for the finish. All right, let me show you how this is done. I'll just close that out. We'll start with a brand new file, and you want your file at 2 inches by 2 inches, so new blank file, 300 dpi, and 2 by 2. Choose OK. So there's our basic file. Now in here we need to put our rings in, and the rings are going to be sitting based upon a grid they'll place in. So you want to create a very careful grid on here. Everything has to be matched exactly. First, I want to cut this in half, horizontal and vertical. So we'll make those exact by going to View and New Guide. Let's do horizontal at 1 inch. So that's right in the middle. And then View, New Guide, horizontal. Let's change it to vertical at 1 inch. There we go. I now need to put in my guidelines to the left and right and top and bottom off of this. So let's go ahead and put those in. So New Guide. Store horizontals first, and we'll start off with 0.5 like that, and then a new guide at 0.75 right there. One more time, new guide, this will be at 1.25, there it is, and then new guide at 1.5. That's the horizontals. Let's now do our verticals. File, New Guide, change to vertical. And our first one is at 0.5. And New Guide, vertical, 0.75. And then New Guide, vertical still. Oh, went too fast. Let me just undo that. I have to type in my number. Vertical 1.25. There we go. And the final one, New Guide 1.5. Now I have all these numbers written out, and you can get that on the material support page for this video. So there we go. Those are our basic guides. We're now going to be placing a ring in here, and then we'll be using that ring to create all of those rings. I'm going to go over here to our colors and click on that little icon there, reset the colors to their default settings, make sure that black is in front. So that's good. This is all good. We now can go over to our graphics and just go clear to the top so you can see where we're at. So I'm in graphics, by type, shapes, and then we'll scroll down. It's not too far down. Go past all this fun stuff in here, past the Oriental characters in there, and there we go. It's this middle one. It's just called circle frame. To the left is a circle, to the right is a thin frame, and then here's our circle frame. Click on that, and that puts a circle frame right in the middle of the page. Okay, I'm going to zoom in now on this, and let's size this up a bit. Just expand our page. Now you see where it is fitting in. There's like these 4 boxes. This is right in the middle of the page. That's our center middle of the page. And there are these 4 squares in here. I want to have the inside part, the inside edge, touching the outside part of that. So I want to expand this so that the inside is touching that outside of that square. So grab a corner. I'll just pull that up. Grab the bottom right corner here, pull that down, and then I'm going to just pull those corners out until I get it just touching those edges. That looks good. And make sure that your center part here, your little center marker, is still right on the guidelines at the very center of the page. And choose OK. Let's zoom out, and you can see now how the inner part of the circle is just reaching the edges of that inner set of squares. Okay, there's our basic ring size. Now let's give this that kind of chromy metallic look. I'll change over to the effects, and we're on Wow Chrome. So here's all of our effects in here on Effects Styles, and then Wow Chrome. And the one you want is this one, Wow Chrome Shiny Edge. Click on that, and it gives us that nice shiny edge ring. So there's the basic ring. Let's now switch over to the layers, and there's our shape. I want to do one more thing. That effect comes with a drop shadow. I don't want that drop shadow in there, so let's get rid of the drop shadow. So where it says FX here, double click on that. That brings up the style settings, and just uncheck drop shadow, and you can just minimize that. So there we are. There is the basic look. Choose OK. Okay, there's our first ring. So far, so good. At this point, we need to simplify this layer. So notice right now it's a shape. I want to have this as just a regular layer. So let's right click on the layer and then click on Simplify Layer, right like that. And that leaves us with our ring, and it says Shape 1. Let's go ahead and name this now. This is going to be the middle circle. And it's kind of our base circle. Now I want to make a selection around, so we'll be using a selection to create our overlaps. So go up here to the magic wand, click on the inside, and I'll pull this over a little bit. Make sure you're on Add, and make sure that it's on Contiguous. That's perfect. So click the inside, now click outside, and that selects all of the white area. We now can invert this. Select, inverse. So now just the ring is selected. Let's save that selection. Select, save selection, and I'll just call that ring and choose OK. That's just a safety. If everything goes OK, we won't have to work with that saved selection, but just to be on the safe side, I want to go ahead and save that. All right, I'm just going to minimize this a bit easier here to focus on what we're doing. So there's our first ring in there. Let's now duplicate this. Just take it, drag it up to the new layer button right there. Rename this. This is going to be the right ring or right circle. You call it ring, circle, whatever. Now using my keyboard, I'll use the right arrow key, and I'll pull this over to the right side. Now where you want this to go is so that that center mark is lined up on those two. You can see this will be almost touching here, and that center mark is going to be lined up on those two lines. So as soon as you get that over there. So make sure that you're using your keyboard to do this, and tap it over, and it should be lined up exactly. And the reason I want to use the keyboard is so that I don't accidentally get it moved up or down. It's exactly to the right. Notice how it pulled that selection along with it. We can deselect that. That's why we saved that selection in case that happened. Okay, back to the middle circle. Pull it up here to the new layer button. Let's name this one. This is the left circle. And then again, using the keyboard, I'll move this to the left-hand side. We'll just keep on going over here until it gets just over to the left, and then again, tap it over until that center point just lines up on those cross lines. There we are. Okay, so I have 3 rings kind of sitting one on top of another. We now want to make them interlocked or interlinked, and that's where that selection comes in. I'll go up here to the top, which is our right circle, and then select Load Selection, and that's the one we'd saved here, Ring, choose OK. There's our loaded selection. So now I have this selection in here. I can then erase out of here that bottom bit right in there. So I'll grab my eraser, and there's the eraser size. And I'm just going to make sure on the right circle that's correct. And I'll just erase right in there like that. So we now have that interlinking ring. Do the same thing up here. So I want to be bottom here, top here. This is on the left circle. And do the top part. There we go. And there we are. It's kind of like a chain linked in. Okay, so far so good. Let's now do 2 more of these. I'm going to just deselect that. We'll do our top and our bottom rings next. Grab the middle circle and drag it up again like that. And this will be the top circle. Same trick, keyboard up arrow, and just pull that up until it meets up with that guideline. Get that lined up exactly right. So right about there is just about perfect. And we'll do the same thing for the bottom circle. Get up your middle circle here, drag it up like that, rename, bottom circle. And again, keyboard, and I'll move this down to the bottom. Now you'll see a few odd things happen in here. We're getting some weird cutouts and stuff happening on these overlaps. So we need to solve that problem. Now the top one is easy. I'm going to take this top circle and I'll pull that right up above the right circle. So it's sitting on top of everything right now. And that puts it over that link, and that solves that problem right there. We're going to be cutting it out here, and we'll need to do a little fix on that, and I'll show you how that fix is handled in just a bit. And so I pull it down one. Let's go. That will take care of that. So the top circle is between left and right circles. That's perfect. The bottom was a bit trickier. I'm going to be cutting out this part of this circle. So this part of the circle, we cut out this part of the circle has to be in front of the bottom ring. And it is. That's as far as I can go. So I'll show you how to fix that. Let's first do this top circle. Get this one taken care of. This is the easier one. Here's our top circle. Let's bring our selection back up again. Select, load selection, and it's ring. There it is. Still in the top circle. Back to the eraser tool. And so it's this side, it'll be that side, and then this side right there. That's the one we want. See, I'm kind of going clockwise around these things so that everything is if it moves around, it's always the one on that side. So it's this side, and then down to this side, and then over to that side, and up to this side. Okay, let's go to our bottom circle down here. Keep the selection where it is. On the bottom circle, I want to get rid of this piece right there. There we go. So top circle is fine. Left and right circles are fine. Bottom circle still has a problem on it. Let's just deselect. And I'm going to hide those guides just for a minute. You can see this little problem right in there. If I zoom in on that, this circle should be above those pieces, but this has to be in behind that. If I move this above here, then it's going to mess up. It'll be above this one. So what we have to do on this one circle is do a little bit of a cheat on it. I guess out here's better. You bring the guidelines back in again, View Guides. And what I'll be doing is cutting out the upper right-hand corner of this bottom circle. So go up to the elliptical marquee, and then using the guidelines, I'm going to cut out from the center and over to here and then down to right there. See where I have that outlined. So it's the upper right hand corner of that bottom circle. So do that, and then layer, new layer via cut. And here we go. It took that corner, cut the corner out, and made it into a new layer right there. I can now take this corner, pull this corner above the right circle. And that fixes that problem. So this is going to be the bottom circle, upper corner. I'll just call it upper corner, so we know what that is. So bottom circle, upper corner. Okay, those rings are now finished, and that's most of the interlocking stuff on here. To get the pattern, though, we still need to have some more rings in this. I need to have a ring out here, a ring out here, a ring down here, and a ring down here. So 4 more rings to go. Back to the middle circle. This is always our starting point. I'm going to pull this again up here to a new layer. Use the cursor keys, and I'll make this from the bottom right hand corner. This will be the bottom right. And again, move it just out like that. And when it gets into about the right position, you'll see the lines that you have to match up on. And just get this centered on those guidelines. Just like that. Now on this one, you can take this circle and move it to the bottom. That's in behind everything. Let's do another one. Middle circle, up here, copy that. And this will be upper left-hand corner. Same thing, cursor keys. And let's move this over and then move it up. Just like that. And we get close, we'll see where we need to line up on, and start those lines. And there we go, that's lined up nicely. This one also should be underneath the middle circle, so grab that and pull it down. So let's just name these. This is upper left, and this is lower right. Okay, and those are in behind everything. We now need to do this one, and these will both be in front of everything. These are the easy ones, actually. Hard part's already done. Okay, grab the middle circle again, up here, copy that. This would be my upper right. Cursor keys again, and let's move that up into position. And as we get up into position, we'll be able to see where we need to align that up. Okay, they were almost there, and let's now line it up with those guidelines. Okay, there we go. Now this needs to be on top of the whole stack, so grab it and go clear to the top. There it is. Same thing one last time, middle circle. Drag it up here to the new layer, and this would be the lower left. Once again, cursor keys, move this out and down. And when we get almost into position, we can see where it needs to be lined up on those guidelines. And then just tapping it over with the cursor keys and down right there. I think that's it. Okay, so there we go. This one needs to be on the top as well. Take it and drag clear to the top. And actually grab the wrong one there. What I want is the, no, lower left, that's correct. Okay, drag clear to the top. There we go. So lower left, upper right are in front. Upper left, lower right are in back. And there we go. That takes care of that. It's all done. Now we can make a pattern out of this. So scroll down. I'm going to hide the background because I don't want to have the white background on the pattern. We now need to crop in to the middle section. So let's go to our crop tool over here. At this point, you may want to actually save this file so you have it to go ahead and get back to if you want to make any adjustments later or see how it's put together. I'll just do that right now myself. So let's go ahead and do a File, Save, and I'm just going to call this one Rings Master. It's the master file for the rings. Let's choose Save. Okay, Crop Tool, and kind of hard to see, but right in here, I'm going to pull the Crop Tool down to there. So middle of the upper left and middle of the lower right. Okay, Crop Tool, and you'll see this once I get this in position. Now, make sure that you have Snap to Guides selected. It should be selected already. It's the default, but just make sure. That'll make this much easier. Okay, go right over the upper left-hand corner, drag that down. It's going to snap to those guides, and when I let go, you'll see that there is the part that we want to have as our pattern right there. And click the green check mark, and there's the pattern. You can now save this if you want to as a pattern file, or let's just go ahead and convert this into the brush. So go up here to the Edit menu and define Pattern right there. And it says Rings Master Pattern. I'll leave it at that. That's fine. And choose OK. Let's minimize this, get that out of the way. So we're all set. Now let's go ahead and test this pattern. So File, New, Blank File. Default Photoshop Elements size, that's fine. Choose OK. And there we go. Now, so you can change the color in behind the pattern and behind the rings. Let's make a new layer here and put the pattern on our new layer. Go to the Paint Bucket and make sure you're on Pattern. Click on that, and there's the new pattern right there. That's what we just made. Double click on that to set that in, and then click in here to set that pattern. And it fills that pattern in on that layer. You can see now I can show or hide that background. Let's now see how well this works. You see it looks pretty good already. Let's make sure everything looks good. Just zoom in a little bit, and there we go. Real nice interlinking rings. Now if you get a little problem on your rings in here, you'll have to go back to your ring master file and then move a ring. You may have one of your rings off by 1 pixel, left, right, whatever. You can kind of figure out where it is if you pull guidelines in. Pull a guideline into the middle of this set down here where it says 1 inch on the left-hand side there, and then 1 inch at the top, and that is the middle of your pattern. So if you're seeing a mismatch in here, or in here, or here, or here, then you can figure out which one you need to move a little bit. Now, if this is mismatched in here, move the opposite ring. If this is mismatched, move the opposite ring. And just, only do like 1 tap on your mouse, one move on the keyboard to get those lined up. If you were careful and you make sure that everything was lined up nicely on your guidelines, you shouldn't have any problem in there. Okay, so there is the pattern. We have our pattern all set to go now. Let's just close that. Now, we have that all saved. This file saved. We're done with that. I'm going to do one thing. I'm just going to make sure that my patterns here are saved. Save patterns. I'm saving these into my custom patterns 2 right there. And choose Save. And there's our original picture again, and you can see how we have that pattern we just did placed in here as a background on this picture. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how this is done, but I'll do that in a second video. So this ends this first video on making the pattern, and then the second part 2 will be on doing this whole image here and using that pattern as a background. Okay, there we go. That is making a repeating interlocking pattern. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.